about 6 years ago, I was actually hosting shows on other community radio stations, and I found their setups really inspiring because they were in slightly less conventional spaces, and I came to the Boogaloo a lot, and I know that this place has a really rich history, and so I thought if we did something similar here, we could open the virtual doors to a sort of wider community online, and invite more people around the world to come into the pub, but via the radio station. And then 6 years later, here we are with an amazing roster, a raft of producers who all give up their free time to make it all happen. And so we cobbled a lot of this together. Also, luckily for us, some of our presenters are from the music industry, so they had bits and bobs in their basements that they could give us. It was very much a mismatch of different things coming together, and it worked and it was fine. But as we've gotten bigger, we've had to level up our audio quality. And so we had to build something that anyone could walk into and just use, and the sound quality to be consistent. And, so when someone tunes in, they just get this great audio experience, and there's no barriers involved, because I feel like what I've learned, because I'm not from an audio background at all, is you've got your listener and you've got your presenter, and the glue in the middle is the audio quality. And I think when that's not there, it doesn't matter how great the content is, the listener is just gonna quite rightly tune out after a couple of minutes. One of our presenters, Bernard Butler, he's got sort of a long background in audio and audio tech. And we, off the back of all the problems that we were running into about inconsistency, about impromptu live sets, and the chaos that online radio kind of brings, he did some digging and he found the RØDECaster online, and we just thought it's everything we needed in one little box. It was like a magic box.
Yeah, I just went searching for something that would be versatile and simple. Either you are a musician and you start fiddling with knobs, and that's bad, because if you've got a desk where people start fiddling, then the next person it's all messed up for. So that's a real problem. Or you don't have a great deal of knowledge and you just need to say fader and push it up. The selling point for me was the faders were really simple, but there's processing on board. And that was when I listened back to shows, particularly my own show, and I'd start listening to proper radio, if you like, and start trying to work out what the differences were, what was going on. And I know from my musical background, how much compression and processing goes on at mainstream radio, giving that kind of sheen and compression and EQ and giving a station an identity. And I thought that was really important. The RØDECaster was the only box that fitted all of those things, that had onboard processing that we could use really easily. So there's compression, there's EQ settings, there's individual mic settings, and it's all done behind the screen. So it was easy for us to set up, leave it, and nobody would know it's there. Actually, it is a bit like a performance. It reminds me of being, on a stage or something where you're grappling with what you're trying to say, trying to be articulate, choosing records. You've got an audience and got to be aware of that. We're communicating, but beyond that, then there's all sorts of little technical, silly things that you need to get right. Otherwise, it's just immediately awkward. So, for me, I thought if I can't get it right, having dealt with lots of this kind of stuff before, then anybody new to it won't be able to either.
Now I feel quite confident I can let anyone walk into the studio and do a really good show, and they don't feel held back by lots of buttons and tech that they don't understand, and they can just get on with doing a really good show. And I think as well, it's helped more people, going back to that word, unconventional people, who maybe before would be a bit nervous about doing a live radio show because it is a scary thing. The tech isn't part of that. They can just come in and crack on and it will sound great. And I think as well, I've noticed when some presenters listen back, they're actually quite like, oh, I sound quite good actually. And I'm like, yes, you do. So yeah, definitely the RØDECaster, I think, it's enabled and empowered, I think, our entire team just to get on with it, just to get on with the job and focus on the exciting things, which for most of us is actually the content and the funny stories and the music and the guests. And because of the nature of the station, it's in a converted bin shed, in a live pub setting. And I feel like there's so many other things to go wrong, and the audio just doesn't need to be one of them. So yeah, I think it really suits the sort of environment that it's in at the moment.